YouTubers, Twitch, however the bloomin' hell you're watching this. I'm Lucky Sixes. This is Proxy Table Gaming, and we are back for another challenge from Peteglio at Vale of the Ages with regards to 3D terrain. And today we are looking at 3D house or wooden shack or whatever hell you want to call that abomination in the corner for the game. So I hope you're all okay and up for another tutorial-esque thing. If you're not all aware and you're coming onto our channel and you've not heard it before, Vale of the Ages is a company that have brought out the game The Breach, and this is a good picture of, give you an idea of what it is. Lots of cards, entry level game for the 9th Age, but this picture is a much better picture of what it is. Oh my god, it looks so good. We won't stay on this briefly, but as you can see there's lots of cards, lots of models, and it's a game designed to get people into 9th Age, wargaming in general, and just have some fun, man. So, what is the challenge, I hear you ask? I've already done one video, which was a hill, and this one is going to be a house, or in this case, an impassable terrain. If you don't know already, there's 3 types of terrain. There's impassable, which is like a house or a rock formation. A elevated terrain, which is like hill, or in this idea, rocks. Like levels. I guess you could do steps or like a tiny Egyptian pyramid thing. I don't know, whatever. And the last one is piece of cover terrain. So a field, as shown there, or a forest, or a bush, some shrubbery of sorts. But yes, but as I said, today we are focusing on the wooden shack house, and in terms of materials you are going to need roughly this sort of stuff. So we've got the most important thing is lollipop sticks. Now if you don't have a load already, then just go out and buy lollipop. This is the best video. Just buy lollipops, eat them, it's fine, it's great. So yeah, loads of sticks for that. You need a card, because most of the terrain are 2D, and as we said, we're building 3D for it. But they are the size of the card, so that's what we're going to be going along for on this. We want some paints. Obviously for this one, we're going to be wanting some blacks and some browns and some different colours of that sort. You're going to need some PVA glue, some normal glue, and then some terrain like grass and flock and sand and things like that. The more you have, the better. I'll show you an example of it today, but honestly, you can go to town on that sort of thing. So to start off with, you're going to be wanting to cut a lot of the lollipop sticks. I use just general scissors. I guess you could use the I don't know what they're called. What are they called? Not pliers. I don't know. Just use scissors, alright? Chill out. And you're going to cut them it's just roughly, so it's the size of one of the card's edges, but you're going to do it a little bit less, because what you're going to want is eventually we're going to be sticking it onto the card, and you're going to want the card to have a bit of grass and scenery on it as well. So a little bit less on that side. You're going to continue this all the way around, trying to get a nice flat edge next to the card, and just giving yourself a rough idea of what you're doing. And yes, I did position 3 6s for the cards because my name's Lucky Sixes, and what, right? Anyway, so yeah, position it like that. Your next bet is to get some more lollipop sticks, and this is what I mean. You're gonna need tons and tons and tons. Cut it out to the width of one of those sizes. I've put it roughly 5 centimeters up, but you can choose however you want. You don't even have to properly measure it, but what you do need to do is make sure it's the same for each side, and you'll understand why in a second. And then simply stick it on. You're going to do that for each one, making sure that it's I've chosen 5 centimeters to the top of it, but that just means you've got a good idea of where to cut for later. And later is now. So what you're gonna do is with the top of those, the longer edges, you're gonna cut the tops off at the top of that where you've glued it onto. You may find the tension sticks it, unsticks it to the middle panel, but just give it a bit of glue and stick it back on. You're as good as gold then. Continue doing this for both sides. And just the long sides for the time being, but keep those extra lollipop stick edges as well, because we're going to need them for the roof. Next up, you've got the smaller side panels. On this, you're going to be creating a sort of triangle roof shape for us to then stick on later. I just used, I went 2.5 centimeters up in the center, and then used a ruler to draw a line on it, and then just cut it out as well. So you've got that sort of half diamond shape on the top, and then putting it out there just next to the thing, just to show you where the pieces will go. It's all coming together, isn't it? All coming together. Next up, you are going to look to super glue the edges all together to create your initial frame. So I used some super glue. It's like really specific to wood and plastic. If you're into modelling, which you probably are if you're watching this, you're bound to have some at home on your own. Anyway. But yeah, any super glue should do, especially for modelling. Continue round till we've got all 4 sides, and this is just to show you how it will look and it will fit on the card. Yay! And like I said, the middle bit, the middle frames are really good at this point to show you, give you a guide of how it's going to look, but also for gluing purposes. Just so that you get an extra bit of attachment to each corner and each side. It can get quite finicky, but yeah, there we go. Next step, and this is probably the most intricate bit, or I found it was anyway. Get another lollipop stick, I know, lucky you, and measure what the inside panel is, or what the gap in between is. You're then going to cut it out and stick it in between. So it's going to have to be pretty. Always go bigger than what you would think, because if you do it smaller, then you've got to start again, and you've got to get another lollipop, and oh god, hard times, right? But yeah, if you can get this as stuck in as possible, then we're all gravy, right? That's just to show you how it's going to go. What you're going to want is you're going to want it as flat as possible to the triangular side, and then you're going to get another one and do it. What this is going to do is going to help you stack the roof and get a bit of support from all your beams moving forward. Again, using that same super glue, pretty good. Other super glues are available. Next up, gather all those spare bits that we had from earlier, and just see how you're going to do. You're probably going to need one extra, because this is, as you can see, we've got 7 panels on the actual wooden shack, but 8 on the roof bit. That's because it's going to want to overlap on each side, just to give that house wooden shack feel to it. And I say, don't worry too much about it all being exact right. If you look at my one there, there's not exacts. There's a little bit out of place here and there, and different colours and things. But that actually adds to the charm. So don't worry too much if it's not looking exactly right, because it's a wooden shack out in a forest somewhere. It ain't going to be pretty. That's just to show you how you're going to be doing it. So you're going to want to have the straight edge at the top to start off with, making sure they all line up. You're going to cut one, and the only reason you're going to just cut one is because you're then going to have to measure up-ish, so they all look roughly the same length. Again, it doesn't overly matter if it's a couple of millimeters out or anything. But basically you're just doing it so it's roughly the same, and they're going to all be straight like a wooden panel would be. Once you've got that, again line it up just to see how you're going to, what it's going to look like in your head, and get sticking away, guys. Other Loctites are available. Yeah, once you've done that, crack on both sides, and that's what you should sort of have. Don't worry at this point that if anybody's going, oh, you haven't cut out a window, cut out a door, don't worry, we're going to paint that chisel. Use your artistic form later on, so don't worry too much. Next up is the painting. So again, this is really where your creative freedom can flow. I chose a black for the top because I thought that was quite nice, but you can use anything you want really. Another idea for the top is to get some paper over the top, and then use some grit, then blacken it after that to get sort of like a hatching type effect. But for the purposes of this, I just went for straight black, because why not? Everyone loves black, right? Next up, I used a contrast paint, one of the new GW ones, although you don't have to at all. This is just personal preference, but as you can see, when it dries, it does get in the contours a bit, and the contrast actually is really good for giving that sort of wooden, faded and weathered effect on the lollipop sticks. And yeah, and again, don't worry too much about your ones if there's pooling of paint, or one looks slightly different shade to the other. That actually adds to the effect of a weathered shack being out in the forest. So if that's happened to yours, good work. Okay, next step. Once you've done the base coat on everything on the shack, you're then going to get to the playing card and give it a good. I like brown as a base, because we're going to be putting some grass and stuff on that on top. But if you want to go proper green, you could go green, or if you're going to go for a stone effect, go stone, grey, sand, go for yellow, that sort of thing. So whatever your base is going to be, give it a base colour. Mine's going to be mud, so obviously brown is probably the right thing. Next up, even more art, and yes, a little bit cartoony, I know, but yeah, you're going to want to add doors and windows, and even extra wooden panels and things. But that's another thing you can do as well, adding on for creative effect sort of thing, getting extra lollipop sticks and just boarding them up, and you can make your shack look like it's in desperate need of some tender loving care. Or let's say if your paint skills are better than mine, which I'm sure they are, then just painting up doors and windows is fine as well. Onto the home stretch now, guys. We are looking at actually gluing it to your card. I wanted to leave a bit of extra room at the front, because that's gonna be where everyone's looking at the piece. So I just glued it like so. Then get your PVA glue and douse the bottom of the base, or well, I guess the top of the base, and also different areas of your shack. So don't worry, again, this is really good if it goes everywhere and stuff, and as you can see, It's not only on the base, it sort of starts riding up the shack. I did a little bit on the roof as well, and especially the corners of the shack as well. Last thing to do is get that grass and flock that you had, and sprinkle it literally all over your shack. Don't worry too much about it going where the glue isn't and thinking it's everywhere, because it will come off. But everywhere the glue is, it'll stick to, and it really give that grassy sort of moss effect. And again, with this, you can literally go as far as you can. This is just an example of how to do it, but you can add the small tufts of grass that you get from most gaming stores, and you can. This is my own mix of stones and grass and sand and stuff, but you can get pre-made ones from most gaming stores as well. A little touch I made on this was putting the sand just in front of the door, giving that sort of like pathway effect or more worn effect than the grass. But again, it's completely up to you. If you want to add some foliage that goes over there, then go crazy. And this is just to show you all around. You can see the contrast paint, what it does to the wood. I quite like it, to be honest, giving that weathered, like almost in need of a paint job look to it. And there you go. As you can see, the floss and the grass rides right up in places as well, which just again gives. You can get tiny leaves as well from, well, either modern stores, or a trick I sometimes use is getting green tea and using it as the contents of those tea bags. Quite good forest foliage. There you go, tip of the day. If this wasn't a tip enough for you, come on guys, give me a break. And there you have it. There's a picture of it next to some of my models to give it a bit of context. And yes, I didn't need much of an not much of a excuse to get my dragon out, but hey ho. And yeah, another example of context. So there you have it, guys. A pretty quick and simple way of creating an impassable terrain, 3D, out of very minimal materials, and something that can make your games look cool. Can you do a better job than this? Probably. And I dare you to. And let us know in the comments what you've made it out of, what extra bits you could do to give it that jazzy effect, and what sort of things else we can make out of lollipop sticks, because I'm sure there's quite a few. But anyway, guys, that's it for now. I'll leave you with this picture. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial on how to make a wooden shack out of lollipop sticks. You could do a good drinking game to this video on how many times I mentioned lollipop sticks as well. But that's an aside, that's for next time. If you haven't already, check out Veil of the Ages and The Breach. Great game, not only to play, but also to get new people in, and that's at the end of the day what we all want. If you like this video and like some more hobby content, then stay tuned. Myself, I'll be doing some more of these, but if you like a real hobby stuff, PTG Gobbo has his mix of tutorials and showcases that by far outweigh the talents that my door there can offer. But yeah, hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the 9th Age Forum. If you're interested in all things 9th Age, we have got the content for you, and if you're just up for a bit of fun, then come and hang out. Thanks very much for watching, and see you later.